Hola, everybody. I am Ashish Agarwal, one of the product managers inside Oracle. I have been working with Oracle for last 21 years, have been in different roles, have helped develop the diagnostic and tuning pack, Exadata management that you see in Enterprise Manager, and real application testing, and a couple of other cloud services. So that's a brief background. Thank you to the Oracle Latin America Oracle user group to provide me this opportunity to talk about Exadata, extreme Exadata top 10 analytics technique to maximize performance. Hope everybody can see my screen nicely and clearly. I will get started directly. Perfect. Directly, I'll get started here. So this is my agenda. What is analytics? I'll briefly touch base what I think what is analytics. I will make a problem statement. I will discuss Exadata management challenges. I think you can correlate it with those challenges. And then I will exactly go into the top 10 techniques to maximize the Exadata performance. I'll try to do a short demo at the end of the presentation, time permitting. And as well as, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. So let me get started. What is analytics? So basically, I think analytics is really first a discovery of pattern in our data set. That can be, your marketing data, your customer data, your law enforcement data, or your IT data, or your Exadata, And the data can be of the form of metrics, logs, configuration. And one is the discovery, meaning a meaningful pattern of that discovery in your data. And second is the communication of it. So I must be able to communicate. My service or my tool or whosoever does the work must be able to communicate the pattern so the consumers of it can understand it. So that's what we think is analytics is all about in the simplest possible term. So now the problem statement. So there are tools which focus on monitoring and diagnostics. They are very real time, but a single DB or a single Exadata or a single host or a single middleware, one at a time. They cannot give you insights across the entire data center or over long periods of time, like an extended time period, or across various systems, or let's say you may have a cost center or a different business units. So I want to kind of get a slice and dice and try to identify more meaningful patterns that way. That's not available today. And then they lack, the advanced capability. For example, I want to run different regression models on the data I have. We have wealth of data today, but lack of these capabilities of the running the regression models or running machine learning capabilities or doing statistical analysis also, like trying to correlate the data, trying to trend and trying to do forecast is not available today in most of the tools, platforms, or services. Okay, so that's my problem statement. I'll try to solve the problem statement in terms of Exadata very specifically, because the service or the tool or the technique I'm trying to communicate to you is really focused. It's purpose built for Exadata. So what are my Exadata management challenges? So one is resource bottleneck. So which resources my DB machine will be bottlenecked because my DB is growing, my business is growing, my application workload is growing. So can the resources I have, can it keep up with my growth? Or vice versa also, if I have a machine and I'm not using it, what are the idle ones or what are the least used ones? Then another aspect is if my workload is growing, so which application, which database is responsible for my consumption? What are those highest resources? Right? Not simply easily answerable. Then the application SQL, can I find patterns of problems across my entire Exadata environment? Is the performance problem because the application itself is badly written, or something else is happening like a plan change, or I am excessively waiting? Am I using my flash or my disks in a very optimal way? Can you find that for me out of the box? So that's the second set of challenges. Third set of challenges is capacity planning, or doing an analytics on capacity. So we try to onboard many applications and databases to Exadata. So basically I do consolidation. So how much room I have, how much headroom I have, which workload I can bring in, or how can I improve? Other question I can ask in terms of capacity, how can I improve the utilization of my high value resources like the flash disk? Or how can I even get better IO or better throughput of my Exadata? So those are the challenges that I have, and my techniques will help you to exactly solve the problems in these three areas: resource bottleneck, application SQL, and capacity analytics. Okay, so top 10 techniques. So first technique is get a unified view of your Exadata estate. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or n number of Exadatas, get a unified view. What that unified view means, you should have a single pane of glass across your enterprise for your inventory, for your resource usage, for your available capacity, for DBs that are performing well as well as that are not performing well, your errors, your alerts, and status of your all your Exadata assets. Exadata is a combination of various things, the host, the database, the storage system, the InfiniBand network, the Cisco switch. So you should have a complete visibility in a single place, especially more the Exadatas you have, more need of the unified view. Then in the unified view, we believe you should have a bird's eye view of your global resource usage. On an aggregated basis, let's say I have total CPUs of 64 CPUs. How I am using it across my 4 quarter racks? What is the performance of all the hundreds of Exadatas that are running across this fleet? How is the performance of the databases? Can I view my alerts at one single place for my Exadata? So the benefit of, if you have this global picture, as I am showing on my screen, and my demo will also go through it, is it helps you to focus on your critical operational challenges. Every time I come in the morning, I go and simply look at this dashboard and I get the view of my entire Exadata estate. One single place, and all the key operational challenges that I face day to day, I get it from here. So that's tip number 1. Technique number 2, pinpoint Exadata systems that are expected to run out of resources in short term. Because if you are going to run out of resources, you will have performance problem. So prevent performance problem and be proactive about it. Why proactive about it? It gives you the lead time. So how do I do this? I do analytics, I do machine learning on the metrics like CPU utilization, IOPS, MBPS, the host memory utilization, the storage capacity. We collect the data, we run machine learning, we do regression, we run regression models on top of this data collected and do the forecast. So in advance, we go and try to identify which systems are going to reach high utilization between 0 to 30 days. We automatically classify out of the box, or you should do it, so that be proactive about it. That's the key message I'm trying to give here. Use analytics, and be proactive about it. Use some regression model and be proactive about it. Identify your top growing databases so you know which ones is consuming the most, and at the same time identify the key resources, very specifically CPU, memory, IO, and storage. When are they going to expect it to run out? If you look on my screenshot here, I'm showing the Exadata systems that between 0 to 30 days, I'm saying that 2 Exadata systems are going to reach high utilization. My default high utilization mark is 75% of a particular resource. On the other hand side, I have one Exadata system that's not going to reach that high utilization even after 180 days. So there is a pattern in my data that I have been able to detect and forecast in advance. Okay. Then the second thing is really identify the SQLs that are your highest resource consumers of your workload, so that you keep a tab on them. So that's my second technique to get the best performance out. The third one is, you have the systems. A simplest use case is, hey, I have bought the systems. Am I using it optimally? What are the systems which is lowly utilized where I can onboard more workloads, right? So I want to maximize overutilization. At the same time, I want an assurance that there is no oversubscription, so that, any performance problem does not happen here. Okay. So out of the box, try to identify systems which are in low utilization category. And again, my demo will show it. What I mean here, we go out and try to identify systems based on the 4 key metrics: host CPU, host memory, IOPS, and Exadata storage capacity. If they are less than 25%, if all the 4 things are expected to be less than 25% for next 6 months, we classify them out of the box as lowly utilized system. So that means there is enough capacity available that you can onboard more workload. Okay. So similarly, we can use, of course, these are underutilized systems, because they're using less than 25%, right? Ideally, in an ideal scenario, I would like to use everything as 100%, as long as they don't cause a problem. That will be the best bang for my buck. I spend $1, I get a return of, let's say, $10 when I'm using 100% of it, right? So similarly, we should predict our forecast usage of our table space, our flash, our storage, and identify those systems. And using the same technique of forecasting, if you're trying to onboard workloads or migrate workloads to an Exadata system, the same technique can be used to forecast on non-Exadata systems for the storage growth, for your host CPU, for DB CPU, and find out a system, lowly utilized Exa system, which have enough capacity to serve that workload. So those systems can be good candidates to move to your Exadata system. And that can help with your migration also. So that's the third technique. The fourth one is, I want to keep an headroom. So when I say headroom, is first of all, I want to say when I'm at 75% of my utilization, for example, you are welcome to decide on your own threshold. But typically I feel if I'm at 75%, I need to really start paying attention, because that gives me a lead time. So when I'm saying my capacity as 75% rather than 100% for now, and I want to forecast my resource based on those. And as soon as I breach my headroom, I want to know it. So that gives me a lead time to act on it. That's why I want to compare my capacity with the headroom. So what we do is we actually identify seasonality and growth patterns in the database. We understand what are the weekly peaks and also daily peaks. So your weekly peak may, let's say, happen on every Monday, because that's where most of my users come into play, you know. So that is out of my Sunday to Saturday week. Monday is my most peak day, versus daily peak between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the morning. I have most of my users every day. So that becomes my daily peak, for example. So identify those, we actually identify it, and based on that, we tell where is the peaks happening, so that you can provision your resources accordingly. You can customize your own capacity headroom. We out of the box provide you lead times based on 30, 60, 90, and 180 days of capacity. Of course, when it is 30 days, you are likely to act, you have to act more sooner versus later. Whereas with 180-day worth of capacity, you have some time. And this can also help you to do your budgeting if you want to. And we do capacity alerts on anything that is between 0 to 30 days and going to reach your headroom limits. So that was technique number 4. And to do this, you know, we use machine learning algorithms. There are regression models inbuilt into the system. You can forecast up till 365 days in advance with a confidence of by default 95% confidence level of 95%, meaning, you know, typically the forecast will only be 5% times out of the range that we have forecasted. So we have different regression inbuilt, you know. Typically it's machine learning or a linear regression model that you will see the forecast on. So we learn the baseline, we learn the peaks, and we learn the patterns also. Okay. The 5th technique I want to tell is really you should keep, so that was a resource aspect, right? So resources impact performance, right? That's one aspect. Now, even after having resources, your databases, your workload, or your SQLs could degrade in performance. So how can I maximize it? So this is some new technique using analytics that you should try and see, try to maximize performance. So to do that, what we say is keep an eye on your databases which are degrading over a period of time based on long-term patterns and based on systemic degradation. Let's say your very simple reason, you haven't changed anything, you have enough resources, and simply your data is growing up by multiple folds in last 6 months. So the degradation that may happen is gradually, even if your application is well tuned, simply because you are scanning more data, right? Or even if it's a buffer get, you are spending more time on the CPU, right? That's as simple as that. The response time, you know, as compared to 6 months versus today may be different. So keep an eye on databases that are degrading in performance. Do an automatic way to do that across your fleet. Today, what happens is we go and monitor a single database and then react to it. We are not proactive. That's how typically all the other tools behave. So this analytical way, collect your data, historical data. We have the ability to analyze 13 months worth of data. We run regression techniques and other statistical analysis. We identify outliers, and based on that, we try to identify now, hey, this database has degraded in performance based on response time and demand, or based on active sessions and demand. So that's one thing. The second thing is variability. When I say variability, typically as a user or as a DBA or a developer also, and especially more with respect to our customers and consumers, they expect a pretty stable response times. Let's say if an application, a web portal page is supposed to return results in few seconds, render it in few seconds, and behind the scenes you're running a query, a DB query on an Oracle database on an Exadata. If you expect to return in few seconds, it should always return in few seconds. It should not happen that sometimes it takes few seconds and sometimes it takes, couple of minutes or even double than that. That means there is a variability in our workload. So out of the box, we should identify. These are all complementary use cases based on analytics technique that we don't do today. So this is something new that the technique that I'm trying to present here. So identify the variability in your workload so that you can go once you know there is variability, you can pinpoint the workload that is causing it and get to the root cause of the problem, and further then you can take a corrective action to fix that problem. So that's the second piece of variability. Similarly, inefficiency. When I say inefficiency, so your application may be performing okay, but hey, can I improve my performance? So what does inefficiency means for me? Inefficiency means I am needlessly waiting on non-CPU, non-IO wait events. Let's say on locks, latches, log file sync, or any other wait events in Oracle databases. Meaning I'm not really servicing my workload. When I'm servicing my workload, I'm really using CPU to return the results, or I'm really doing an IO and returning the results as fast as I could. I'm not waiting anywhere. Versus when I'm waiting for a latch, I'm needlessly waiting here right now, right? So we track that out of the box. We do analysis of that using a ratio of, the non-CPU, non-IO wait events versus the total DB time consumed. And we call that inefficiency. So let's say your inefficiency, you started with 30%. All DBs and workloads have some inefficiency, but they should be below some level, right? Let's say you are 20% inefficiency, you started with 20% inefficiency, and that kept growing over a period of time to 60, 70, 80%. That means you're waiting more and more. That's where you can make an impact. If you try to reduce that inefficient part, you will get a better response time, or you can do more processing in a shorter amount of time, or even more throughput. You can process more workload during that time. So my technique is identify those out of the box across your fleet, get into the root cause of it and fix it. Number 6 here is identify degrading, variant, and inefficient SQL and SQLs with plan changes. So keep an eye on your SQL performance. So earlier technique was on the DB level. Here I'm saying monitor your application SQLs on a fleet and see proactively if any SQLs are degrading. Again, I take a great example. You are doing a full table scan, which is expected, no problem. You have 100 million rows in that table right now. Now in last 3 months, the same 100 million row table has grown to 150 million row table. If I am doing scanning a full table scan, naturally my response time will slowly degrade in this 3 months because I'm scanning more. And similarly with index also. Even with index, if you're scanning more rows out of that index and the table itself also, then you are going to get slowly a degradation. Or other aspect to this is your plan may change, execution plan may change, maybe just because now your data has changed and now your optimizer stats has changed. So you should track those with SQL plan changes out of the box and across the fleet and based on historical data. So that's the distinction I'm trying to make between the monitoring tool and an analytical tool. This is fleet-wide historical data doing a different set of analysis. Okay, so we monitor this response time over a period of time. We also identify even if they are not degrading in performance, which are my top consumers, which SQLs are consuming most of my CPU and most of my IO. AWR provides that information, but it is for one single DB for a 1 hour time period or 24-hour time period, whatever AWR report you generate. This provides the top SQL across your entire fleet of DBs or entire fleet of Exadatas. Okay? So a manager comes in, or a DBA who's managing 50 databases can easily pinpoint the SQLs which he needs to focus on day-to-day basis. This also gives you ability to identify patterns of SQL problems across the enterprise. Let's say it's shared by a shared storage, and because of a shared storage has a problem, lot of SQLs are showing performance issues. So if you see, I will be able to identify patterns of problem across the entire fleet of databases. So I will say, hey, okay, out of the 20 SQLs are degrading because IO time has increased by greater than 50% now. So that will immediately click in my mind, okay, maybe I need to look at my IO, because how come large number of SQLs have degraded because and IO time has increased. And we can validate it with you know, the typical performance metrics that we collect with the SQL plans we collect. My SQL is not doing full table scan and still the IO time has increased. I have not changed anything. The plans look the same. So those kind of patterns, if they emerge, we will be able to automatically resurface and help you out on a fleet level. Then how many times we have a need to compare performance trends across databases, right? So how do I do that? We can do it today manually. I have been doing it for a long time manually, but it's tedious when I'm especially managing hundreds of databases. So you should have the ability to compare the performance between databases in a single console at a single place. The plans, how the DB time is, how the response time is, how the IO time is, all should be comparable. So, so if a performance problem happens, let's say in the prod, and the same workload is running in your pre-prod, you can compare and quickly tell, hey, oh, this is different, and that's why the performance problem is happening, and fix the root cause immediately. So that was the sixth technique I have. Now, especially in relation to Exadata, Exadata is a platform where typically, you know, a lot of our customers would have a shared platform, meaning they will be running multiple workloads and multiple databases on the same Exadata machine, be it be a quarter rack, be it be half rack, or be it be full rack, right? So that becomes, that presents a little bit of challenges, because each workload may have a slightly different requirement. And what if one workload versus other workload consumes more resources versus others? So to keep an eye on the same, on the shared platform, we give you an ability to see visually, and of course, drill down is also there to how the growth rate is of the particular databases on that particular Exadata only, so you can quickly compare it. This way, it will help you to identify any noisy neighbor either on the DB level or on the SQL level also. You can compare your DB CPU, your memory, your IO utilization growth rates. You can analyze your ASM disk group level utilization, and as well as do forecasting. Benefits of it, it will help you to implement, you know, DB resource manager or IORM plans based on long-term data, not just a short-term, you know, last 1 hour or 1 week worth of data, but, you know, 90 days or 30 days or up to 13 months worth of data. So this will help you to maintain your SLAs, lack of any better words can help you with that. So that's the seventh technique. The fourth one, my suggestion, my recommendation is to identify, keep a tab on any of the outliers that may happen. Very specifically, on your compute node for CPU. If a CPU, if a load running on the CPU or the compute node is, the load average is very high, make sure we call it out, we identify those. Similarly, very high memory utilization will of course leave first to paging and maybe swapping. If there are any outliers, we should identify exadata storage cells for small read IO per seconds and small read throughput disk type for flash disk or hard disk. The reason is this can help you to maximize your performance. If they have reached the peak utilization, that's where actually I want to be on that level, that they should reach the peak utilization. If it is not, then try to drive the utilization of those. But if you have reached that level, that means it cannot really serve additional workloads. That's what it means. And then any outliers of your exadata storage cell for throughput and IOPS based on average read times, throughput and small read throughput, we should actually keep an eye on that. So that can help you to maximize the performance. The ninth one is really for analyzing your logs. So we generate a lot of logs across our database, not only alert.logs, audit logs, or on the host level, or even on the storage server level. So there should be a central place where you should analyze this out of the box. It should not happen that I should go and start collecting when a problem happens. I should be able to collect and automatically analyze all the time in real time, basically. So we have something called as log analytics that can do it and automatically help to pinpoint the problem if a problem happens, because errors can reflect on performance very easily. So this is a zero touch configuration, zero user efforts, that will automatically analyze exadata logs on this particular service, because it is aware of the exadata topology. And since it comes from Oracle, all the errors are already categorized out of the box, basically. The 10th one, even if you have application logs or other log events, use machine learning. There is something called as smart clustering that a DBA or application developer or a capacity planner or a manager can go out and use it. We typically have millions of logs in our application or other type of logs that humanly it is very difficult to identify problems from them. But if I am able to cluster that millions of log live entries to a very few based on a pattern, that can very quickly identify the outliers or the problem line in my entire code or my entire logs, that can be of very help. And second machine learning capability is really a cluster compare utility, where I can compare a previous cluster that was generated by the same DB exadata or application logs to the current logs and tell what's the difference between them in a very easy fashion. And I have the ability to do alerting also in the difference between the two logs and tell you what may be a probable cause of the problem, so that can troubleshoot faster and help troubleshoot faster. Okay, so those are the 10 techniques. I have some time here. I want to quickly switch on to the demo, and then maybe if I have time, I'll still explain the architecture as well. Okay. So you can see this is Oracle Management Cloud for IT Analytics Service. I was talking about Exadata Analytics. So this is exactly the technique that I have been trying to communicate to you guys. So I have 4 Exadatas right now. You can see, I have different types of systems, rack type, different quarter racks, half rack, full rack, and they are all non-virtualized currently. So I said that first I will talk about resource utilization. So this is how they are classified automatically out of the box based on the current utilization. So one system is lowly utilized. On the other hand side, if I see there is another one that's between 75 to 100%. Now this is the forecast part. That's where my machine learning is coming into picture. What systems are going to reach my high utilization? So I have two systems between 0 to 30 days that are going to reach high utilization. So that is based on 4 specific resources: CPU, host CPU, host memory, Exadata storage server IOPS, and the Exadata storage itself. If any of these are going to get used 75% of that particular system's capacity, I'm going to call it out as high utilization. And if you see on the right hand side, I have one system that's not going to go over 75% even after 365 days. This is the breakdown of my number of databases. I'm saying I have 36 databases of 12102 right now on my Exadata database machine. So this gives me an inventory. I have asked about, one of my technique was, hey, how do I identify a system that is lowly utilized? You get out of the box answer. And the second piece is really about the global resource utilization. So this gives you an aggregated view. I have a 672 cores and I am using 205. So if somebody like VP or a director or a manager or even a DBA sees, he says, oh, I'm using only 31% right now. Maybe I don't need additional Exadatas. I should, drive up the utilization, or maybe I can onboard more, or maybe you are over provisioned right now. That's as simply as it means. So let's now go. So that's one aspect. Then, so this is the system, one system. These are actually the two systems that are going to, highly utilized in next 30 days. So let's drill down into one of those. So this is the insights of those particular machine. So I can clearly see the host CPU is really running 82%. Whereas I have enough IOPS, I have enough storage capacity. No issues on this two part. Not also memory also, I don't have an issue. I have an issue on the host CPU. Okay, so let's go. So that's the insight. There are no databases actually degrading in performance here. So that's great news. Now I talked about comparison about CPU. So what are my top databases based on CPU utilization? So these are the ones. Now how they are growing, it clearly tells the growth rate of each of them. So of course, if there is any outlier, you can quickly identify and see what's going on that. And then corrective action is up to us. Either we tune the workload or we move that workload out of that particular machine if we think we are going to run out of resources. Or if that also is done, maybe we need to add capacity, more capacity. So that was based on CPU. Then similar thing about memory. And of course, we can go and drill down. We'll try to drill down into little bit more details, time permitting, Then the storage part. So I see that, my sales DB using the most, and the growth rate is pretty similar. I don't have a issue with my storage right now, so I'm good. Similarly, for the IO utilization, DB IO utilization, my marketing DB is using the most. And the growth rate there is 13% basically. Can I look for the host, the compute nodes? Yes. That's where the problem is. So that's why, remember when I said the host CPU is 82% and 75% is my headroom limit. So that's why I'm saying there are 0 days left to the capacity. So I need to take an action on my CPU cores on the compute node. And again, the technique is either you are running more workload, either your workload is not tuned, some SQL is consuming more, If that's the case, identify that, fix it. We help you to do that. If it's already well tuned, then you need to add more capacity or rebalance your capacity or move capacity out of that system so that the application does not suffer or the business does not suffer. Right? Storage server, I have no issues with my usage. I already said, but it gives you a breakdown of my storage usage as well as my IOPS across each of the storage cells. I have enough capacity and throughput as well. So that was Exadata Analytics. Let's drill down a little bit more on some of the things that I have been talking about. So I talked about, you know, the SQL aspect of the workload. So that's my fleet level. I'm utilizing a time range of 90 days. I'm saying I have 857 SQLs, out of which 35 are degrading. So I can go and drill down. I suggested a technique where I will, on the dashboard, analyze degrading SQLs, variant SQLs, inefficient SQLs, and SQLs with plan changes, as well as patterns of data and what are my top resource consuming things. So let's go and drill down a little bit. I can see historic view of this one, how systemically this time has been increasing for this particular SQL. So out of my fleet, this one SQL is the one which I need to pay attention the most. So I go and drill down. I get the SQL text and I get further details into my execution plan insights. I get the baseline and anomaly, and I can compare. I talked about comparing the performance also. So I have two plans for the SQL. I can compare it visually. So that's one aspect, a quick overview. I can also see the DB performance on this particular Exadata systems only, or my entire fleet also. So I have 54 DBs. I'm saying 9 are degrading in performance. I can go and try to see what's happening with them and get to the root cause of the problem of those particular databases. So my activity has increased by 1500%, but my demand is going down slowly over a period of time. Similarly, I can go and do analysis based on my host capacity or based on the host resources I have. So that would include your compute nodes. You will get your inventory, you will get the systems that are going to reach to high utilization. And of course, I can go and get, you know, details, various slice and dice of projections of my performance characteristics and my resource usage characteristics of particular systems. So that's what it is. I will stop. It's 45 minutes on top of my presentation. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. So we have 4 questions here in the Q&A. The first one is from Hector Bastida. He's asking how to install enterprise-wide Exadata, or where can he find it? Is it a console, a web console, or?
So if I understand, he's asking about, is he asking about the service that I'm talking about? How can he start utilizing this service, right?
Yeah.
So this is a cloud-based service. I wanted to show how this architecture also looks like. So I'll take a brief 1 minute to show that as well. I have my last slide, and that's a great question, basically how you can consume this, right? So basically if this is your data center, the service lies in cloud called as Oracle Management Cloud. All we do is we install a cloud agent. That's one action on your database machines. We install a cloud agent. If you are familiar with EM agent, so it is very similar to an EM agent. And for our EM, we install the data collector, and that two together sends all the required metrics and configuration information to the cloud, and you can start using this service.
Okay. So Héctor, if Héctor, si consideras que la pregunta no fue contestada o no era la pregunta que tenías en mente y quieres volverla a escribir, estamos aquí pendientes. So Marcelo is asking about, okay, where are the graphics coming from? Is it a web application? But yeah, I mean, you already showed that on the demo. So Marcelo is saying that the question is already answered.
Yeah, it comes on this side. So the service actually is a cloud-based service. Really, you log on, very similar to, you exactly do what I was trying to do. You log on, and I'm going to show you. Get a
I think you are on mute.
Oh, sorry, I spoke on a mute. Okay, sorry. I was saying this exactly works in the way I was trying to show. It's a cloud-based service, and you get a URL, a service URL, your service URL. Once the configuration is done about the cloud agent and data collector, the data gets uploaded, and then on the cloud, on any browser, you consume the services.
Okay, thanks. We have time for a couple more questions. So Babu is asking, is this only for Exadata or available for supercluster as well, please?
So this is available for supercluster also, but the topology may not be there for a supercluster. You can monitor your supercluster as a host and get the views, get the projections. Exadata is something, a topology that we understand better in this service right now. Supercluster also, you can do the analysis, but only thing that would be not available is the topology of a supercluster.
Right, there is one more question. Carlos is asking, is this OMC compatible with Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C?
Yes, this OMC is compatible with EM13C. It works together with EM13C. So the data collector piece I told gets installed on EM13C. It will extract the data from EM13C and send it to the OMC.
All right, I think there are no more questions. I'm gonna say something in Spanish, Ashish. Just hold on for a minute, please.
Absolutely.
Bueno, gracias a todos por habernos acompañado en esta sesión. Agradecemos y valoramos su tiempo. Les recordamos nuevamente que en nuestro sitio web, laouc.org, está la agenda de las sesiones de mañana. No dejen de revisarla por si les interesa registrarse en alguna más. Thank you, Ashish. We really appreciate your support for this event. It was a great session.
Thank you so much. Gracias. I am so happy and proud to present to you. I loved it.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.